When I was diagnosed with ADHD, my psychologist came out and said, "Great, congratulations, you have ADHD, but also it comes with friends." And I was like, "Great, I don't have any friends and ADHD comes with friends. That's awesome. So this should be good, right?" And no, that's not what she meant. She meant that there's other mental illnesses that I have along with ADHD. And so that can be kind of scary. But then I thought to myself, oh, I've been diagnosed with epilepsy, and maybe she is talking about that because that would make sense because I have that and then ADHD. And then she explained, no, you have other friends, other mental illnesses besides that. And so that's when I figured out that, okay, now I have to figure out which ones. And then she told me, and I was like, that's a lot because all I came in to do is get diagnosed with ADHD. And now I have all these other things I gotta worry about. And then over time, I generally figured out these are called comorbidities, and they're called comorbid because, well, it just sounds scary to say comorbid. So I really like the phrase comes with friends a lot better than comorbid. But the thing about it is that ADHD, it's really common to have other mental illnesses attached to ADHD. So common, in fact, that a lot of psychologists and everything expect it. When you go in, they expect, okay, there's going to be a chance that you might have this and you might have that. And so they actually test for that. And that's what happens. That's what happened to me is they tested for ADHD and then they tested for other things after I did my interview with it and to see if I had those other things as well. And so this is a really good thing because if you don't know that you have something else in addition to ADHD, then that other thing can be a very big deal because you do want to get them both treated if you can. And the thing about it is that it just makes it more complicated because now you're not only trying to treat ADHD or figure out everything about ADHD, but you're also trying to figure out all these other things about your other mental illnesses. And that can be just a struggle because some of these things actually, some of the symptoms just overlap. And so now you're trying to figure out, is it ADHD or is this other mental illness? For example, autism and ADHD often come together. And it's so common now, they have ADHD as an abbreviation for autism and ADHD. But that doesn't just mean that can just be there. It can be autism, ADHD, bipolar, anxiety, whatever is your mental illnesses, the mental illnesses that you have. And so it's very important to know because if you don't know, and then you're getting treated for ADHD, but you're not getting treated for everything else that you may have or may not have, then that can be a big deal. Now, I'm not saying don't go into where you're just so scared that you might have something else along with the ADHD, because there can be a situation where you do not even have anything else along with ADHD. You may not even know, it may not come back as you have an ADHD. You may get tested and it may come back you have something else. And so that's another reason to go and get it tested and get a firm diagnosis of whatever you may have as a mental illness. And if you have ADHD with friends, feel free to share anything about it you want in the comments. You can share anything about ADHD in the comments as well. If you're enjoying this content, click the subscribe button for me so you do not miss a video. And it can be a struggle at first because you're trying to figure out everything. There's a lot of trial and error if you're actually going to do medication because you have to interact. These medications have to interact correctly. If they don't, that can be a real issue and you have to find stuff that works for you. And so when you're dealing with more than one, then that can take a while and that can be a real journey trying to figure that out as well. And the other thing is, I don't want you to be caught off guard because I surely was when I went to get tested for ADHD and that's what came back. I just didn't know anything about it. So I just don't want you to get caught off guard as well if this happens to you. But the key here is that when you go in for your diagnosis and you get diagnosed with ADHD and also something else, that you are not alone. There are other people in the world that also are going through the same thing, and it's more common than you think. It's not something that you should think, well, this is just something about me, but there are other people who are going through the same thing when they go in and get tested for ADHD. And I believe this, that if you have ADHD and it's comorbid with something else, I still hate that phrase, I'm just gonna say ADHD comes with friends, then you need to know, because then you can actually figure out how you're gonna approach it and make the best plan possible for you and your mental health journey. Now I have another video about actually ADHD boredom, which you may be interested in, because the boredom that you have with ADHD can be really just soul crushing, and it's just not a fun time. But I explain how it all works and why it is that way when you have ADHD. I'm gonna put that video up. It's gonna come up on the sides of the screen.